move on to our panel where we'll discuss the latest in tour operations. This panel is sponsored by Darina Holidays. Thank you for supporting this panel discussion that we have right now. Our host will be Walter Buschta. Walter, welcome. Walter is the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Client Services at Phocuswright. You live in New York, beautiful. You're a key player in Phocuswright's innovation efforts, and you started your career building an e-commerce and CRM consulting business for the travel industry in Switzerland. You also co-founded successful ventures both in Europe and in the US. And with that, Walter, the stage is yours.
Oh.
Walter's not on yet.
Oh, now it works. Okay. Thanks again for the introduction and good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see such a great crowd come together here. I want to start with saying congratulations to Pedro and the team of Travelgate X to the acquisition. Great achievement. And again, also a shout out to Darina Holidays, and thank you for sponsoring this panel. So I have the pleasure of moderating today's discussion about tour operating and how this industry has bounced back stronger than ever before. Joining us today are two leaders in the industry. That is, one of it is Jari Virtanen, the Managing Director of Stena Line Travel, and Paul Bixby, the Chief Commercial Officer at easyJet. Want to join me on stage? Paul, you want to come as well? So the pandemic was, hi Paul. So the pandemic was catastrophic for tour operator business. We had huge losses in 2020 that spilled over in 2021. And then in 2022, the international travel came back and the industry grew by 200%. And again, 2023, it again grew by 25%, which then led to around 60 billion euros revenue in 2023, which is well exceeding 2019. So Paul, you're responsible for easyJet's holidays product, inventory, and partnership. And I saw easyJet's latest numbers published, and damn it, it looks like you did very well too and even exceeded the market growth.
Yep.
So one thing that definitely helped you, two things were consumer demand is super high, but also the prices are high. So how are you navigating through the market change, especially in terms of price and demand?
Yeah, I think obviously holidays only existed in easyJet really from 2019, literally a couple of months before COVID, so great timing. I think from our model, we have obviously the advantage of a huge amount of airlift. Yeah, we have over 340 aeroplanes because it is primarily an airline, an extremely well-known brand with over 350 million visitors to the easyJet website. And I think that's what really gives us as a proposition, our uniqueness is that almost half of our bookings come from people that are going onto the airline website first. Yeah, we are not having to pay for the acquisition of customers, which we know, when you combine it with above-the-line advertising in Google, is a very expensive hobby these days. So if you're not having to pay to acquire those customers, obviously that can go back to investment to the consumer and to the end customer effectively. So that's really how we've been able to drive that business forward. And I'd say, and I know the theme is, technology, and I'm sure we'll come on to it, but relationships are absolutely key to still managing the tour operator business. We can't forget that we can create connectivity, we can create efficiency, we can create automation, but we have to maintain those relationships, especially if we're trying to polarize demand into a certain area.
Okay, good. And Jari, I must admit, when I first saw that Stena Lines is on stage for tour operating, I was a bit surprised what does a ferry company has to do with tour operating. Then I watched an interview of you last year here at Connex. You said you made a lot of money with canceling flights, so I guess that's not your business either. So what I learned is Stena Line Travel is a highly innovative and very successful tour operator and OTA in the Nordics and Netherlands with different brands there. So what Paul mentioned, he has the advantage that people come in and look for a flight, but you're kind of at a crossroad. You have a kind of an uphill battle where you have customers with the desire to book their own trip. Then you have not just the competition through the typical air, car, hotel dynamic packages that they can do through the OTAs. You also have the suppliers who have their book direct initiatives and loyalty. So could you share a little bit about how Stena Line Travel is adapting to that transformation in the market?
Well, first of all, during or straight after COVID, we did one major acquisition in Holland, which is a tour operator, which is a charter tour operator focusing on the Nordics. We are from the Nordics. Nordics is a booming destination, so we are trying to put our eggs not only in OTA, but also in the traditional charter operation. For us, I think that our benefit, if we compare it to a traditional tour operator, I wouldn't call easyJet a traditional tour operator, but if we compare to a traditional tour operator, I think we have always managed, at least in Sembo, which is our main consumer brand in the Nordics, the OTA, we have always focused on flexibility. And that has given us a position in the Nordics which is very, very good. And it seems that the platform for us is also serving us very well when it comes to AI, because we have just recently we have launched a trip planning technology tool which is powered by AI, which I would claim, I'm a little bit, I have to be humble in front of all these people. There might be somebody else, but we can now do very, very sophisticated tour operating through the power of AI. So we believe that every consumer in the future will be their own tour operator.
Okay. Actually, yes, you're not a traditional tour operator, and you are either. So in general, tour operators are relatively slow to adapt to technology. The shift online, I think it only happened in 2022 that more than half of the business was done online, which is very, very late compared to the other segments in the industry. So the digital technology is definitely reshaping every industry, and especially ours. It happens very, very fast. So Paul, can you discuss some of the key initiatives you had at easyJet Holidays on the tech side?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the changing demands that we're seeing from consumer perspective, you know, you talk about the shift to online, now it's talking about the mix between desktop, mobile, and obviously a lot of our traffic is dependent on people getting to certain touch points, whether it's on the desktop or the mobile. And mobile is actually a completely different way of how you have to speak to those customers and relay those touch points to bring them over to the holidays business. So there's a lot of work around re-platforming and recreating the app and how we can make sure that that's fit for future as the growth of mobile effectively just gets greater and greater and greater every year. I think we are, obviously, we've started with Travelgate in the last 6 months, and we are now starting to build our portfolio of connected hotels, which is a direct connection as opposed to what we've had previously, which is a mix of direct static contracts, you know, the old traditional tour operator way, and a long tail of a bed bank. So that gives us much greater access to best rate, last bed availability, which we all know in the world nowadays is the key to success in a tour operating business. And we are literally just starting on that journey or we have been starting on the journey of AI, you know, things like chatbot within our customer services team. But we're very much, you know, two of the biggest call volumes into our contact centres are, I haven't received my confirmation email and I don't know my transfer time. So even just using AI for very simple adaptations like that cuts out a huge amount of back office effort. And they're the quick wins before you get into the more technical yield management using AI versus machine learning across those sort of platforms. So there's loads going on at the moment, and we're really only just scratching the surface of a young business.
Yeah. So you both invest a lot in technology and try to bring the customer website and offering them the best experience. What does it mean for travel agencies? So how does that all affect the relationship to travel agencies? I'm not sure how much you work with travel agencies.
Yeah, we have 600 travel agencies connected to us in the Nordics, so we work with them.
So do you get a lot of backlash from them when you are innovating that much?
No. Everything is calm. No, of course, I mean, the retail chains, they have, of course, their certain challenges. I think the Nordics is one of the most progressive markets when it comes to, we started, I was in Nordic in the Fritidsreise group for many, many years. We were the first tour operator, I think, in Europe who cut the travel retail part of it. But I think that we all, at least all OTAs, we need to also think about what's coming in the future, because as soon as we are into, I mean, on the previous session, we talked about digital assistants. And as soon as we have this connectivity widespread to many suppliers, one needs to ask themselves, what is the purpose of having a middleman? And there, I think at least we, in our view, we started in COVID started to think, is there any chance that we can compete with Expedia or Booking, etc., in the future, being a fairly small regional tour operator or OTA? And there, I think the innovation and giving the people the opportunity to do combinations which they've never been doing before. And that we find it also that our partners in the retail business, they like that because they can sell combinations that did not exist before. I mean, who imagined to go to Mallorca for 5 days, flying with easyJet to Toulouse, staying then in a close-by village in France, and flying home from Montpellier with another airline? Those kind of combinations, they don't exist today in an easy two-click way. They do it now.
And if you planned it and your wife tells me, can we leave 3 days earlier,
no
changing
problem
all of
at
that?
All. I'll change that in a second these days now.
Yeah.
So, and you have to remember that we are a ferry company to begin with. We have a lot of car holiday people in our vessels. So flexibility, moving around, changing itineraries, this is all, I mean, we worked with that for ages. Now we are only digitizing it into the flight packaging industry as well.
Yeah. And probably AI plays a big role in that, and I've been to a couple of events in the past couple of weeks and months, and also we covered it in our research. It looks like people, I really have the feeling people see AI as a catalyst for innovation, for something completely new. But no one really knows exactly what that change will be.
No.
How would it look like? What would that be? And Jari, you kept all of your tech people during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then last year in an interview here at Connex, you said you hope to show something really, really cool this year.
Yeah.
So what is the really, really cool things you've built?
Well, actually, I have to correct you. It was 2 years ago I was here, so I'm 1 year
2 years
late.
ago.
But we launched for a month ago. We launched a AI trip planning platform, which we really believe meets the customer expectations. You can ask for a 14-day round trip in Spain. You can get the answer you get. You can have a conversational chat with the AI moving the itinerary, and then you can, with one push, you can go and click. And then if you want to add flights, you want to add ferries, not trains yet, that's difficult, but you can do all this. And I know that Expedia and some other players say they have trip planning, but I challenge everybody and say that we would like to compete with them, because this is something really which we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I think if you look at Sora, the one from OpenAI, where you have text to video, where you can do that, imagine what that could do for inspiration marketing in the travel.
But most of these, sorry to interrupt you, but most of these platforms, they can do trip planning. That's not the case. But tell me one who has integrated it into a booking platform in one click.
Yeah.
Tell me one.
Yeah. Also, don't forget, people love to do the trip planning. So, Paul, how do you see AI transforming or helping your business?
I think for us, I mean, I love the idea of trip planning. I do like the fact that you can create inspiration. I think until the mass market of point-to-point travel disappears, it's good for us, but will it be the first priority? Probably not. Our first priority from an automation, from an AI perspective, is certainly about that back office piece, creating that efficiency. You know, we're coming up to a 2.5 million volume tour operator. We've still got less than 350 people in the whole business. And I think that's the way that we want to try and keep it. Let's try and sustain that sort of level number of employees and staff, because we're going to supplement it by creating great automation and great efficiency in the back office. What we won't do is create or introduce new products that will create complexity out of the guardrails that we've agreed as a board we won't move away from, which is, you know, simplicity, making sure that we don't add in any unnecessary costs, because at the end of the day, the customer won't pay for it. So that's it, back office for us, definitely.
Okay, so sounds like the benefits of AI are in the back office, efficiencies, trip planning, personalization. But despite all of the benefits, there are also some concerns. One is the dehumanization of travel. So, yeah, losing this human touch. What strategic approaches are you considering to balance that? So, Paul, maybe you first. Is there, for you, is the ideal thing, there are no humans, everything is done through...
From a consumer perspective, we're not digital only, we're digital first.
Yep.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is make sure that, and we're still on that journey, is that from a customer perspective, they can have their queries, their questions, their issues answered very quickly through automation and through AI. But if there is something that cannot achieve, then it will go to a human person, a human touch. I think it's key that, you know, we are making sure that the contact is correct for what the customer wants and what they need. Yeah. So I think that's our view on customers, and I think in terms of partnerships and suppliers, I think we're still very much we're a bit like the Pareto rule, 80-20. You know, 20% of our suppliers really should be the core, 80% of the core of our business. So our focus from a relationship, from dealing with suppliers, should always be, you know, always good. It should never really be not human, as they say.
Yeah. Jari, Eddie?
Oh, we have the exact same opinion that people will need to and want to speak to people at certain stages. And the only thing we personally talk about, I have our CTO, we had a beer last night, and then he said something which actually I start to think about. He said, you have to think about AI at the moment as our website looked 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And we believe today that AI is really sophisticated and we can do cool things. But let's keep in mind that the AI transformation will be at least double the speed of the previous digitalization. So I think it's really difficult to predict how consumers would like to have it only in 5 years' time, because it depends on the quality, it depends on, but certainly more difficult topics. And there are unfortunately difficult topics in our industry that needs to be solved. They cannot be solved by a machine. I don't think, not in the near future at least.
So would you say the argument for a tour operator in future, once we have the personal AI assistant, which might not take too long, where I just tell my assistant, book me my trip to Mallorca, I want to go back to Zurich and whatever, and put that together, will there be still the human in between that helps you? The flexibility you have, the safety, when something goes wrong, like a pandemic hits us? What is the reason that?
I think if you think about how it's changed already in the last 10, 20 years, which is, you know, we talked about travel agents and you know, let more people going online, that behavior is already changing. People will choose themselves from what is available online anyway. Yes, you can create tools that will say, you know, yes, I want 5-star near the beach with a swimming pool and blah, 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 and it will come back with some options. It's like Jari said, it's a bit of an unknown, because there is so many ways to adapt to a customer's wants and needs that are evolving every day now. And what you don't want to do is create a jumble sale of trying to do everything and not actually satisfying anyone.
Yeah.
You know, and there is a real risk that we just try and do everything in terms of this area, and actually we create a worse product for the customer. And so we need to be really focused on that.
Okay, good. So steering the discussion away a little bit from technology and another very important topic, but I stick with technology and AI. Another concern there is, I read that creating a photo with Midjourney, so that's where you have this AI photo creation, costs the same energy as fully charging a phone. And each interaction with ChatGPT uses about 1/2 liter of water, which is 2.5 million liters per minute that are used by these AI things. So sustainability is the topic. I did see on your website, Stena line has windmills and things like that.
Yeah,
so,
we are the biggest windmill owner in the Nordics.
Yeah, travel sustainability. A few thoughts around that. What are you?
Well, in our company, since we are family-owned, and I have to take a little bit of a bigger picture than only the tour operation that we run, because we are a family company. There is the next generation waiting. There are small children waiting to take over. So the owner has a philosophy that we will need to build our own ecosystem when it comes to being sustainable. We are in the shipping business, which is not the most sustainable business on earth, but we are therefore also investing a lot in new technology and new energy, and we are trying to use our own energy into that system. So that is the best answer I have. Then there is a lot of challenges, both with ferries, airlines, energy consumption in AI, and God knows what. But I mean, I can't solve all of them. My owner can solve something of it.
Yeah. I think, same again. I mean, sustainability is very important to not only the holidays business, but the airline as well, of course. You know, the airline is already exploring in terms of hydrogen-powered engines. From a holidays perspective, we're actually recently worked with the United Nations, and we are continuing to work with the United Nations on the first sort of measurable ESG framework, which I think is very important to the industry. We know typical traditional tour operators drive a lot of all-inclusive business, so we are working with hoteliers to try and work out how we can minimize that food waste, because that's very important to the local destination, the social well-being of the local destination. So, you know, there's lots of things, animal welfare we're looking at as well. So it is really important to us, and that will be part of our DNA as we continue through the journey, definitely.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I want to close out this session with some rapid fire. So I give both of you 2 terms. You just briefly say what comes in your mind first, just one word. Mountain or beach?
You can start with Paul.
I start with you. Mountain or beach? An easy one.
Mountain beach.
Mountain or beach?
Beach, certainly.
Beach.
Good. Text or talk?
Talk.
Yes, talk.
Oh, you're both still in the boomer generation. Okay. Loyalty or price?
Both.
What was that one?
Loyalty or price?
Loyalty.
Human or machine?
Machine.
That's a tough one. It depends. Let's go machine.
Okay. Google or OTAs?
Definitely OTAs.
Yes, OTAs.
I mean, okay.
And online or offline travel agencies?
Online, certainly.
Online.
Online, of course. Travel agent or AI agent?
It depends on the consumer.
Yes, I would say the same. I mean, we should not forget the consumer.
Yeah.
The consumer chooses at the final end what is more convenient. But I'm saying, tell me one person in this room who would like to go and pay their bills physically to the bank on Friday, next Friday, now when there is a salary day. Hand up. So this is the answer.
Cheap or safe?
Safe.
Safe.
Good. TikTok or Instagram?
Both.
Oh, I prefer Insta. I'm too old.
Hotel or rental?
Hotel.
Personally, rental.
Okay, good. Now should be an easy one. Ship or plane?
Definitely ship, of course.
Plane.
Jari, thank you. Paul, thank you for this session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, we'll open up for Q&A. Camilla is there with the mic. Camilla, I see a hand up here. And there's Rose on the other side as well.
Yeah. Hello. Hi. Thanks. Very interesting chat. My name is Eddie Lubbers from the Stena, Doblemente. We do travel technology for tour operators. You've talked a bit about the retail side of things, online, offline, but I'm wondering on the supply side, the role of the DMC in your value chain. Do you see the DMC as an integral part of the future of tour operations?
Do you want me to say that? It's quite interesting because I have this debate quite often because the role of a DMC is very different as you go around the world. You know, a DMC here, their focus has changed over the last 5 years from a transportation company and an excursion company to more of a bed bank, how I can supply beds. Whereas if you go somewhere, North Africa, maybe they're still on that roadmap and still on their journey of that. So I think the answer is twofold. One is DMCs are very important for easyJet Holidays from a ground operations perspective. They always will be because we don't have our own reps. We've made a conscious decision that our customers don't want to pay for people in resort, so we rely on those DMCs to provide that. The second part of it, in terms of being able to provide beds, they are very good in supporting those local relationships. Relationships that can't be managed by a British person sitting in an office in Luton. You know, those DMCs are in those islands, in those destinations, and they provide that contact for those businesses. And that will, I think, it goes back to my point at the beginning. Relationships are so, so key, even with all the good stuff that's happening with automation.
No, I agree. I think the DMC, as Paul said, changed a lot in certain areas where digitalization is the main topic today. And then it creates a lot of value, at least for us. Some of our biggest partners all over the world are actual DMCs. Some DMCs which create value on top of that, they are also able to take their own risk in contracting. And then it starts to create real value for us, because being only an intermediate in some areas doesn't create that much value, because prices are really difficult to get better prices for somebody and less for somebody else. But the moment the DMC starts to take risk and bundle their customers and use that risk in a nice way, then the value will, I would say, certainly be there. We are at least small enough in many places, so we wouldn't like to go and take risk ourselves, and then it helps a lot if the DMC can play with us when it comes to that.
Thank you. Do we have additional questions? Jenny, Camilla? No questions at this point? Then I would say thank you very much. I'm very happy that we can choose and take airplanes and boats and ships if we like. We don't have to do an either or. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.